Hey guys, we're going to recap the wise and foolish builders. Now we've already looked at it from Matthew 7:24 through 27. So I just wanted to recap using the next place where it looks at it, which is in Luke 6:46 through 49. Let's do it. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? I will show you what he is like who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice. He is like a man building a house, digging down deep to lay the foundation on the rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house, but could not shake it because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built his house on the ground without a foundation. The moment the torrent struck the house, it collapsed and its destruction was complete. Wow, foundation is so important. Originally, I planned a quick recap on wise and foolish builders since we just covered it last week in Matthew 7. But I was convicted to spend more time on this parable since it's emphasized by appearing again in Luke 6. So the parables of Jesus, the parables in the Bible, basically are analogies, but they can be actually much more than just a basic analogy, because it can actually give you the instructions on how to build a firm and lasting foundation. So let's explore that further. The first and most important thing to remember is we cannot do this on our own. A great example of this is found in Matthew 14:29 through 31. Jesus had just left his disciples on a boat to be alone and pray. And when he decides to return to them, the tides had rolled in, the waves were tossing, the wind was really strong, yet he just walked right on the water out to them. And the disciples were freaking out on the boat. They didn't know what was coming towards them, and they became really concerned. And then Jesus says, "Be not afraid, it's I." And Peter says, "If it's really you, let me come to you, Lord, on the water." And Jesus says, "Come to me." And Peter starts to walk on the water at first, and then he takes his eyes off the Lord, because in the verse it says he saw the wind. So that to me tells me that he took his eyes off of Jesus, and that's where we go wrong. When we take our eyes off of Jesus, we fail. And this is an example of that, because at that moment he became really afraid and began to sink. And so Jesus stretches out his hand to him and catches him and says, "Oh, you a little faith, why did you doubt?" And this is just a beautiful example of how much we need Jesus and what the foundation is really all structured by. So our lesson is wise and foolish builders, and my spirit has used these examples to help my understanding, and so I'm sharing them with you for wise building. One of the structures is keeping our eyes on Jesus. And some of the ways we keep our eyes on Jesus is by reading our scriptures, spending time in prayer, getting spiritual enlightenment, like watching these videos or listening to uplifting music. Things like this help us keep our eyes on Jesus. In order to have a secure foundation, my spirit also leads me to structure 1 John 4:19 through 21. We love because he first loved us. If anyone says, "I love God," yet hates his brother, he is a liar. For anyone who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God who he has not seen. And he has given us this commandment: whoever loves God must also love his brother. And you say, "Mo, how do I do this? I've helped people before who appear to be drowning and needing help, but they turn out to be sharks and backbiters, people who hurt me." Well, I wish I could tell you you don't have to worry about these things, but we do. And I just pray that as we stay rooted in God, each test will just become a little easier. And this is a great segue into how figuratively the storm in our lesson represents hard times and when things go awry. So is it a ray or is it a rye? I don't know. Tomato, tomato. The story, though, of the wise and foolish builders it has to do with the storms in our life that come in, whether it be backbiters, sharks, bills that are just not able to get paid, a crisis at work, a health crisis. When these, figuratively speaking, storms come into our life, if our foundation is rooted in Jesus, we are more likely to overcome. And He has given us a promise that we can overcome this world. And I'm going to have to put a couple verses up that inspire me to overcome. I am in the process of trying to quit smoking, and I've been pretty successful, going down from like 18 cigarettes a day to 1 or 2. And it will be over eventually, because I know I can over. And that's part of the storm that this parable speaks of. These things that are in our life that we have to conquer and overcome, we can do it. And if our foundation is strong, like the wise and foolish builders, then we are more likely to succeed. So let's do this. And I hope you got encouragement and inspiration from this video. I certainly did as I was creating it. And I can't wait to do the next one. Thank you again for watching. I love you guys. It helps me if you subscribe. If you give me a big fat thumbs up or a thumbs down if you weren't feeling the message. Help give me feedback. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful, blessed week. Thank you again.